learned to read and left school being able to read, something like 171 more million people would be effectively lifted out of poverty. Because of that skill they would have would make them able to get jobs and so on and so forth, and the argument I was just making a few seconds ago. And that is to 12% of those who are in poverty in the developing world. So these are really significant numbers we're talking about here. Significant and profound changes possible from providing quality education for all children, particularly for girls. I want to give you another example of how it's possible to tackle some of those obstacles that get in the way of girls' education. One of the biggest obstacles to girls having a full education, 9 years of education, primary and secondary, lower secondary, is early and forced child marriage. That is, in some ways, the biggest force that impedes girls having that education. Because when they get to the age of 11, 12, 13, they're married off, often against their will, and they never return to school. They never return to school. So Plan has been working in Bangladesh to create something called Wedding Busters. Sounds like a video, actually, but it's a social movement. It's a community movement. And basically, we go around planned communities in Bangladesh, a country where 66% of girls are married under the age of 18. And we work with communities, and we use young people, girls and boys, as advocates of the damaging impact that early childhood marriage has upon community and family. And they're the ones who persuade the parents, the relatives, the people who run the society, if you like, to change their attitudes towards child marriage. And we've had some amazing success in these communities. And we've reduced the level of child marriage from the sort of astronomical levels it was at before to, less than half. And the reason why we did it, not because Plan does it, or the UN does it, or international organizations do it, it's because girls in Bangladesh and boys in Bangladesh are doing it in their own community. And I think that's one of the most important things we have to bear in mind here when you want to bring about social change. As I'm sure many of you know, that the most powerful advocates are those who have the biggest stake, who live in the society and community, much more powerful than those who come in from outside. In many ways, I think our job is to assist this, but the real talking, the real persuasion comes from those who live at the heart of those communities. I've also been to Burkina Faso fairly recently, and again, that's an area of the world with very high childhood marriage. Many girls married off before the age of 15. And I've seen amazing work going on there too about creation of a traveling theatre company that takes the story of childhood marriage to schools and communities and villages and produces a sort of mini play about it, really, in effect. And I've seen again how powerful that is in persuading people who never really thought it was a problem or a bad idea to think again about that particular issue. So there are things we can do to deal with one of those biggest obstacles to girls' education, which is early childhood marriage. The girl effect is a kind of amazing thing, really. We've worked with Nike for a number of years on it. And I suppose the partnership is a fascinating one because Nike's a massive brand. It's a brand that reaches out across the world. Obviously, its products are enormously popular in the developed world and increasingly so in the developing world. And Plan is a community-based development organization. So it's a kind of slightly odd, you could say a slightly odd partnership. It's not the most natural, intuitive partnership you ever thought. But what they bring is massively powerful kind of tools of advocacy. I mean, that video you saw at the beginning has been played and shown all over the world many, many times. And what we bring to the partnership is that grassroots knowledge of the issues. And many of those girls you saw in that film, The Girl Effect, we help Nike access them. We help Nike interview them. We helped them articulate their own story, which you saw in that film in the end. So that's kind of one of the ways we've been working to make sure that the voices of girls are heard, and the voices of girls are heard through the most modern technology, the most modern ways we can, of which that video is but one example. And I think that partnership with Nike is going to get stronger and stronger in the years ahead. I hope it's going to get deeper and deeper. And it will be around voices, advocacy, clear messaging, and a really powerful synergy of interest around the rights of adolescent girls. I mean, girls is a big issue, But you need to sort of get yourself focused, really, around maybe one or two angles, and adolescent girls is the angle that we wish to go with. Finally, a little bit more about Plan and the Because I'm a Girl campaign. We launched it in 2011. Last year, our program impacted some 2 million girls around the world directly and 18 million indirectly. When I say indirectly, that means through advocacy, persuasion, dealing with governments. We've had quite a profound impact upon legislation in a number of countries, and we hope to increase that. So that's been a pretty good start to our ambitions. And the girl effect is happening. It's a really powerful force. It's hard to describe it, but I just want to finish with this. But when you kind of know it when you see it. And what are the characteristics it has? It has young women, powerful, passionate advocates, articulate, able to command attention, able to get into politicians' diaries and persuade them that they need to change their ways, able to persuade the people who run their society at village and local level to change their ways. And these girls also will be the leaders of the future. That's the other point I'd make to you. This investment in girls' rights and girls' opportunity, I think when we go back to Burkina Faso and Bangladesh and these places in 20 years' time, we'll see a very different sort of social makeup to those who hold power. And the catalyst for that, and the thing that will have changed that, will be the girl effect. Will be that enabling power to get girls the opportunity to articulate what they want, to convince and persuade people to change their mind. You know, if you put a powerful girl advocate in front of a politician, there's only one winner. The powerful girl advocate wins every time. And that's the sort of mobilization we've got to use to make sure that the girl effect moves from being a fantastic concept into a very, very powerful reality that in turn affects the lives of so many millions of children and communities. So that is by way of introduction to the topic. You'll hear a lot of other fascinating perspectives, but that's my perspective on the girl effect and why it's so important. Thank you very much. Thank you.